spooky friends. Welcome back for another episode of Dairyland Frights, the paranormal podcast that covers everything spooky, creepy, and mysterious in the Midwest and the beyond. So my name is John, and today with my two co-hosts, Brooke and Megan. So how you guys doing? You guys excited about this Hatman?
I am very excited. I'm not very familiar with this, so it'll be enlightening.
Yeah,
Megan?
I'm also not familiar with this, so take it away, John.
Yeah. So, are you ready to be frightened and educated? Okay.
Ooh,
Yes.
yes,
For this
I am.
episode, for this episode, I'm covering an urban legend. This is one of the first urban legends, I think, actually one of the most second or third urban legends maybe we covered, who has haunted and terrorized the internet for years. The Hatman.
Ooh.
So, Megan, first, have you heard of the Hatman?
I have not. I don't know anything about it.
Brooke, same thing?
I only, and I know you're going to talk about this, so I don't want to steal any of your thunder, but the only I saw like an article that said like Aaron Rodgers recounts his experience with the Hatman while he was like on like ayahuasca or whatever. So that's why I was like, what is the Hatman? And then I didn't really look into it. So I'm excited to hear about Aaron Rodgers' experience, but also just general knowledge.
Yes, we are in for a real treat. And you know, the last two podcasts we've done, you'll love this one too. So since the late 2000s, so not very old, right? People have shared their stories of a strange vision that sounds remarkably consistent from one account to the next. It's the tall silhouette of a man in a brimmed hat, a presence that tends to appear when you're in bed at night, somewhere between sleep and consciousness.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So already there. So my first source that I'm going to do is actually from a Rolling Stone article called, and I love this title, How the Hatman Went from Benadryl Joke to TikTok Horror Villain.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. Intrigued.
So I know we'll get into this. You both have TikTok accounts. I always say TikTok. That's how old I am.
Tic.
So I know we can look into this later and maybe you can share some things if you know them. So here's a quote from the Rolling Stone article. What I saw gripped me immediately with fear and dread, writes Timothy M. Brown Jr., okay, who from 2008, so again, and he still does, has curated a blog where anyone can describe their encounter with the Hatman, describing his first glimpse of the apparition as a teen in the 1990s. So he describes it as, the man had no distinguishable features whatsoever. I could see no eyes, no nose or mouth, only blackness. He looked
very
like a shadow, only darker, much darker. He had a very wide brimmed hat and a long trench coat that flowed as he moved. So,
yikes.
scared now, aren't you?
Yeah, no kidding.
So, while many actually, and this is kind of funny in the article, it said, well, many don't take the Hatman too seriously. I would take that seriously. That's just me. Instead, and this is kind of funny, instead, riffing about owing him money, I have no idea, or manifesting him as an imaginary friend when you're lonely. That's the type of friend, okay?
I don't want that friend.
Right?
No.
So here's TikTok again. Some TikTok creators, and this is where, you know, again, whatever you know is fine. We can do some research later, maybe down the line and come back to this, have gone in the other direction, claiming that he's real and potentially evil. Shadow person. So, like I said, Megan and Brooke, you're on TikTok. Have you ever seen these like shadow videos or anything at all?
I did. I actually like just looked it up before we started this episode, and I did see a a girl. Her name, her account is Heart Starts Pounding, and she did show a couple. She explained a little bit about the Hat Man and showed a couple images that look like he could be kind of lingering in the background. So it's spooky for sure. For sure.
Very. Megan, how about you?
A very distinct silhouette.
Yeah.
I haven't seen those specifically, but I've seen other alleged shadow people videos, and it's very interesting. And the thing that you said that kind of caught my eye was this, being has a long trench coat. So that makes me think it's like, that doesn't seem like it's from this era.
Right.
Possibly. So I want to know, is this like a thing that like just came about, or maybe it's like from history? I don't know. We'll have to see.
I do. I remember, again, bringing it back to Ghost Adventures. I remember quite a few episodes actually where like the popular spirit that people would see was like a man in a trench coat with a like bowler hat or whatever you call him.
Oh,
and a couple ones they even caught like an apparition, like a shadow figure with like that kind of hat on too. So it seems to be very seems to be very out there, like very well known, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. And remember, this is since the 2000s.
Right.
So this is where people have kind of, it's been around longer than that. Nobody really knows. But now, what I will talk in here, there's a difference between shadow people and the Hat Man.
Right.
Okay? So think of the Hat Man as the cousin to shadow people. That makes sense.
Right.
Okay.
So what is the Hat Man? Patrick James, whose videos are on subjects like UFOs and haunted houses, hypothesized that the Hat Man could be an interdimensional being. So Megan, there you go.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Like Mothman,
right? Like in between consciousness,
in between dimensions.
Yeah.
Abby Sabota, whose scary tales and interpretations of American folklore, says that the Hat Man most often appears to children to feed off their negative emotions, especially those arising from trauma, and in effect is a parasite.
So, doesn't seem like a good thing.
No. So back to TikTok again. Can't get enough in this episode. I don't know. Have you heard of this influencer, MJ Paddock?
I have not.
Does it ring a bell? He's got a lot of followers. A lot. Close to 1 million, I think.
Oh, wow.
No? Nothing? Okay.
No, yeah, no.
You can look it up while you're listening if you want to, and let me know.
1.1 million followers he has. I just looked him up.
Thank you. Yeah. So he has told his followers that if they've seen the Hat Man, they're in danger.
Oh.
And claiming that some have woken up with scratches and marks on their body after he visits.
Oh.
So you will see this throughout my episode. Some just kind of just go, just some dude. And some go, no, man, you see him, you're big trouble. So according to my next source, Wikipedia, which is always a great place to find stuff, the Hat Man is a figure who is often associated with shadow people. And he's a famous urban legend. And again, let me stress, urban legend that shares many characteristics with aforementioned entities, but wears, again, dark clothing, often a jacket, an old style fedora hat, and where it's kind of a fancy hat. And it's usually, this is crazy, he's unusually tall. So we'll talk maybe about Slender Man. Remember, this is kind of the same characteristics with the exception of the hat.
Yeah, it's the one thing.
The man doesn't like hats.
That's true.
So, and sometimes he is considered to be the devil himself.
Oh boy.
So it's, as you can see, a lot of stuff going on here. There's a lot of stuff to unpack. So let's talk about what is the difference between Hat Man and shadow people. Again, Wikipedia. And this one was actually pretty good. Usually Wikipedia sometimes is out to lunch, but this one is pretty good. So a shadow person, also known as a shadow figure or black mass, okay, is a perception of a patch of shadow as a living humanoid figure interpreted as the presence of a spirit or an other entity by believers in the paranormal or supernatural. So just really quickly, shadow people. Are you guys familiar with shadow people? You kind of talked about that, Brooke.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just looked at it as like a different type of like apparition that people see. Like sometimes they see like a full bodied, like a white type of ghost, or sometimes they see shadow people. Sometimes they, see orbs.
Yeah.
Like that's always what I kind of assumed it was.
Sure. And Megan?
Yeah, Brooke just hit it right on the head there. I think that I would definitely agree with her.
Yeah. Have you either one of you even thought of seeing a shadow person or a shadow and not knowing what it was?
I guess sometimes like when you're maybe already freaked out, it's like you see it in the corner of your eye and you're like, oh, what was that? But then it's like you look and it's like nothing. Like that's really the only thing that I can say that I've experienced. I don't think I've ever seen an actual shadow person.
Yeah, me neither.
Megan?
No, I can't say that I have.
So that's really interesting because I thought I saw one, and this is so weird. This was last year when I like to sit on my porch in a summer night and just kind of just chill and have a beer. I looked out and I swear, and man, of course I didn't have my phone with me or anything. I swear I saw a shadow person come out of someone's house. I really did.
Oh, interesting.
It looked like it was like floating across there. And then I was kind of like looking up some things, and I'll kind of talk about this. Your eyes play tricks on you in the night. Like
right,
for sure. From light to dark. Yeah. And although there are some really interesting videos on YouTube, if you like to see shadow people freaking out, seeing shadow people peek around corners, shadow people like in the basement. So, who's to say, right? But
True.
Really, all this is based upon a condition called sleep paralysis and mental conditions. So the reason I bring this up is because here at Dairyland Frights, we like to help people. And one of the things is if you're seeing the Hatman and you're seeing shadow people, I would highly recommend, and all of us here at Dairyland Frights would highly recommend for you to see a qualified therapist, a doctor, psychologist, psychiatrist, because usually, and I'll get into it, it's associated with substance abuse and mental health, different disorders. So it's really something when I get into, and I will put this out on our website and put it out on Facebook and Twitter, because there's an organization, a government organization called SAMHSA, and it stands for Substance Abuse and Mental Health Associates. Their number is 1-800-662-4357, and that's 1-800-662-4357. And they will put you in touch with the right people, because when I start going through it, this is a very common thing, and it can be very scary for people. And like I said, we right, ladies, we won't do anything to help people. So
yeah, right, for sure.
So what is sleep paralysis? Okay, so according to WebMD, which I found a lot of cool stuff, sleep researchers conclude that in most cases, sleep paralysis is simply a sign that your body is not moving smoothly through the stages of sleep. So rarely is sleep paralysis linked to deep underlying psychiatric problems, but it can be. So in other words, when you're having that sleepless night, right, when you're tossing and turning, and you just can't get through that cycle, right, of sleep.
Right.
There's a good chance you're gonna have sleep paralysis, which when I get into it, you don't want to have. Because
right, yeah.
I'm going to share with you. So over the centuries, though, this is really interesting. Symptoms of sleep paralysis, and extremely scary, by the way, have been described in many ways and often attributed to an evil presence. So think about it, ladies. You can't sleep. Now you're going to see evil. So great, right? And in the olden times, you would see night demons. Great. The old hag in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, that was from sleep paralysis. So that's a big claim. Seeing that.
Interesting.
You have alien abductions, which we did an alien episode.
We did.
And this is really interesting. Almost every culture throughout history has had stories of shadowy, evil creatures that terrify helpless humans at night. And, people have long sought explanations for the mysterious sleep paralysis and accompanying feelings of terror. One thing that's even worse than the Hatman is, and I didn't put this in my notes, is called the Jinn, and basically
yeah,
the
yeah.
evil genie.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see this, you're trouble.
I'm familiar with jinns from Supernatural and The Witcher, but I don't think that's the realistic version of them.
Yeah, American Gods too is one of my favorite shows. They were very nasty dudes in that.
Yeah, for sure.
So ladies, did you know this? So don't feel bad if you have it. I'm just saying we need to get help. 4 out of every 10 people have sleep paralysis.
That's pretty crazy.
Oh, that's 40% of people.
It's a lot.
Yeah. And I didn't know that. I didn't think it was that crazy. And this is a common condition, which is, I should know this. It's noticed in the teen years. So my daughter, she has really trouble sleeping. So I always worry about her, with this and everything. But we have taken her to a doctor, and she just has insomnia, and they've given her hopefully some good drugs or something. I don't know, but she's fine. But men and women of this age, of any age, I should say, can have it. So sleep paralysis may run in families. So if Uncle Joe has it, good chance, or mom or dad have it, good chance you have it. But other factors that may be linked to sleep paralysis include, lack of sleep, sleep schedule that changes, mental conditions such as stress or bipolar disorder, sleeping on your back. Does that make sense to either one of you?
Interesting.
Do you want to sleep on your back?
I sleep on my side.
No, I'm a side sleeper, but I mean, sleeping on your back kind of makes sense because it's like, when people have that sleep paralysis, they're, staring up at staring up at the ceiling, seeing their demons, scary.
Oh, and I'll get into that later. I have some interesting Reddit posts that
interesting.
So other sleep problems such as narcolepsy or nighttime leg cramps. So that's common, in people who you might be exercising or something with your leg cramps. Just make sure you drink plenty of fluids before you go to bed. Use of certain medications such as those for ADHD. So again, it's just, remember, this is a common thing. Just if you feel that you're not getting your sleep and everything, please seek a professional. And then, of course, substance abuse. So, again, get the help you need because obviously you need to get your sleep and you need to get your rest. So
sleep is very important.
So sleep physiological and psychological effects. I thought it was really interesting because I was like, I've never thought about this either. So several physiological and psychological conditions can account for the reported experiences of shadowy shapes seen alive. So sleep paralysis sufferer perceive a shadowy or indistinct image approaching them. Oh my God. When they lay awake, paralyzed, and become increasingly alarmed. So you're laying there, you can't move, and the shadow just comes upon you.
So are you like fully conscious at this point, or are you, kind of, not super conscious? So then your mind is making up these things.
So you are conscious, but here's the thing. And it's something I'll get into a little bit. Your brain luckily does this. So I don't know if you've ever heard of certain cases, and maybe we'll cover them, about people who are sleepwalking and they killed a person. There's been cases of that, right? So our sleep paralysis stops us from doing that. So for example, you have it, you're not going to think, I'm going to get a knife and stab this shadow, because you can't move. Or I'm going to get my gun and I'm going to shoot the shadow person. Again,
that's interesting.
You can't move. So your brain's going, hey, we're going to keep you here. I know it's scary, but it's better than you getting a gun or a knife and killing somebody.
Right.
So, and then sometimes when it doesn't work, unfortunately, people die, which is scary. So one of the things is a person experiencing heightened emotion, such as while walking alone at a dark night, They may incorrectly perceive a patchless shadow as an attacker. So, I don't know if you guys are like me. Sometimes I can't sleep, so I'll go out like 10 o'clock on a summer night. I'll walk around, and every time I'm walking, I get this weird feeling somebody's following me. You ever get that feeling?
Right? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I always look around to make sure I'm good.
Yeah, right? And why is that? And that's part of your brain telling you, maybe you shouldn't be out here.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is kind of funny, but I'm like, okay, then why'd you let me leave the house if I should?
Right.
Anyway,
right, exactly.
Come on, brain.
So this is always horrible. So, but many meth addicts report the appearance of shadow people after prolonged periods of sleep deprivation. So the psychiatrist, Jack Potts, suggests that meth addicts' uses and conspiratorial component to their sleep deprivation, like, again, this is a psychiatrist. He said that, for example, and this is even more scary. One subject he interviewed saw shadow dogs, shadow birds, shadow cars, and shadow people. So again, if you're using some type of substance abuse and you're not getting sleep, everything starts to appear as a shadow, if that makes sense, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you're not seeing shadow people. You're seeing like a car coming towards you and it's not there, or a bird flying at you, it's not there.
Your brain plays tricks on you.
Yeah. And standing, they said too, that they see shadow people, oh boy, standing in doorways, walking behind you, coming at you on the sidewalk, and these hallucinations have directly compared to paranormal entities described in folklore. So, and here's the thing that I learned about the Hatman. It's not always at night. It's sometimes during the day. So you can see
that's even scarier.
Right?
You can see the Hatman during the day. And it doesn't matter where. You can be at work, you can be at home, you can be walking on the sidewalk. This entity will appear to you. And
yikes.
Yikes is right. So shadow people are commonly reported to people under the effects of some substances, which I'm not going to pronounce these because they're big, long words in my mush mouth. So if ladies, you want to take a shot at this, I don't know if you can see this, like datura,
datura, diphenhydramine, and benzidamine.
There we go.
Something like that.
Don't quote us on that.
You.
I can't do better than that, bro.
In other words, stay away from these things. So finally, visual hallucinations such as this caused by schizophrenia and bipolar disorder may again appear as shadowy figures at the edge of peripheral vision. All right. To prepare for this, and I'm not going to lie, I was scared. Okay. And I highly recommend this. I had to find it. Where did I find it? YouTube. I think I found it free. It is a documentary called The Nightmare.
Yep. I've heard of that.
2015 discusses the cause of sleep paralysis seen through extensive interviews with participants, and the experiences are reenacted by professional actors. And it proposes that such cultural phenomena, such as alien abductions, near-death experience, and shadow people can, in many cases, be attributed to sleep paralysis. I'm not going to lie. You're going to curl up on your couch, gripping your pillows, and be like, John, I'm going to get you for this. You were not sleep.
Yeah.
I did not sleep, which, in fact, you're supposed to sleep. It is terrifying. It is most terrifying scene I will share with you is a guy, who was in his room and he saw a group of shadow people at the foot of his bed.
Oh my god!
And the shadow people had bright yellow eyes, and they came around the side of his bed, and they each one held both arms and his both legs down, and then another shadow people got on his chest and started to suck out his soul, and he could feel he being held down. He could not move, and he could feel like his life leaving his body, and he was screaming, he was thrashing, and they show it in this, and I'm like, nope.
Yeah,
I
nope,
gotta fast forward it through there. But it's awesome. I mean, it's called The Nightmare, 2015 documentary. Please check it out. Yes, you can dairylandfrights at gmail.com. If you've watched it and it's scary, please share that with us. So anything about this? Do you guys now know what this is all about? And are you still scared? Because I still am.
I just can't imagine what it would be like just laying in your bed, all the lights are off and you just can't move. Like you're conscious and you want to move, but you can't. And then you start seeing things. It's like, you can't do anything about it because you can't move. And I think it takes a few minutes for you to kind of like come out of the sleep paralysis, but like it can feel like an eternity when you just can't move or talk or do anything about it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's honestly terrifying.
Brooke, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm lucky that this has not really happened to me before. There was one time, and this was strange, but I was like laying in bed and I can see where it happens when you're like between phases of sleep, because I was just kind of like on my phone and I must have dozed off. And I think I was like about to wake back up, but I had this like weird experience where like I was in my bed with like my covers pulled like halfway across my face, and I looked up and I saw like a version of myself like staring at me.
Oh my God.
It was not right. I don't know. It was very weird, but that's only ever happened to me like one time. And it was very brief. Like it only happened for like maybe 5 seconds, and then I like woke up and everything was fine.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine like having creepier experiences like more often and like not knowing when it's gonna happen. And like that would just be terrifying because it's very creepy.
It's super creepy because the Hatman and everything. One of the things I forgot to mention is one time there's this. Imagine you're sitting there and you're just, I don't know, you're just taking a nap and maybe you have a girlfriend over, and then you hear that. Okay, and then you go in and you see your friend can't move. This is in the documentary too, where girlfriends were just hanging out and they heard the scream and immediately ran in, and they saw their friend just sitting there. They couldn't move, and they were just screaming repeatedly, and they turn on the light, and what they say too is you're not supposed to wake the person right away. You're supposed to let them go out of it, because if you wake them right away, whatever they're thinking could cause severe mental stress, causing maybe even a heart attack or something. Like, so you're supposed to let them go through it. So she just watched her friend just scream, and could you imagine that? You just have to watch her.
That would
there's
suck.
nothing you can do about it. Yeah. So that was, documentary is awesome. It is scary, terrifying stuff, and it's true. Remember that. They're just actors acting out the real life situations.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy.
Let's get more spooky, ladies.
Nice.
I found a Reddit. And Reddit actually has a subreddit. Of course, they all have subreddits called Hatman. So the first story I'm going to read. So I've been having a dream recently, and this man has been in all of them. My husband and I have experiences growing up of a feeling like we're being watched, and occasionally we would see what we call the Black Hat Man standing under the lamppost in the alleyway next to our house, or the one across the street from my window. However, recently in my dreams, he's gotten more confrontational. Okay, great. So I guess that's how I would put it, she says. The past 3 days, he's gotten closer to me in every dream. I've seen his face, the terrible smile he has on his piercing eyes as he gets closer. He stands close enough that I can see his face, but still stays outside the windows. It's terrifying. Every time I have the dream, my husband wakes me up. I don't know what to do now. Is this related to something? Is there a meaning?
Oh God, that's terrifying.
Hmm.
You'd be like afraid to sleep if you just know that you're gonna
Right?
have this creepy dream over and over again. Ugh.
Yes. To me, that is that you can see him getting closer. So imagine your first night, he's like 10 feet away. Second night, 5 feet,
Oh my
3
God.
feet.
Yeah,
And then he's
that's.
just on top of you with that wicked, piercing, evil grin. So,
Ugh.
we're going to sleep good tonight, girls.
Right?
So here's the second one. My first encounter was when I was 16 years old, and now they're 32. I don't know why they would tell us, but that's still a nice thing to tell us. I was spending the weekend at my friend's house. We were all camped out in the living room. Every light in the house was off, including TVs. Okay. But something woke me up for some strange reason. When I opened my eyes is when I saw him. I was wide awake and I could move my body. So I knew I wasn't dreaming, but he was standing in the entryway shared by the living room and kitchen, just staring at me. I never in my life seen something or someone darker than darkness before.
Oof.
Yet I saw him clearly in all his features. I looked around at everyone else to see if anybody else was up to see it too, but they were all sleeping still. Him and I had an intense stare down for about 20 minutes.
Oh,
20
heck
minutes?
no.
Oh my God.
He never moved or said a word, which added on to the creepiness of it all. Then he just disappeared.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
So this is where it gets weirder, I guess. When I went home the next day, things got weird. Oh, not like they're weird already.
Right. This is one thing.
I now started to see him at my house.
Oh no, hell no.
Staring, not moving, then gone. Over time, years, I guess he got comfortable because he started to walk freely around my house.
Oh my God.
Daytime, night, it didn't matter. But I never heard him say a word. And then my family started to see him as well. They had no idea about my first encounter, and all of the others say they couldn't figure out why I was so calm about it. When I finally opened up to them, everything started to make sense. I came to the conclusion that he followed me. At this point, he was definitely making his presence known, opening and closing cabinet doors, knocking things off the counter, and whatever he was near and I couldn't see him, I felt him with a coldness right next to me.
Oh my gosh.
It's worse. It's worse. So when I had my daughter at 20 years old, is when I guess I got some kind of answer. I was dreaming. Everything in the dream played out exactly how my normal day-to-day happened. The only difference is that I saw him when I was awake and never sleeping. In the dream, he wasn't alone. He had a woman with him, and they were both pacing around my room if they were plotting something. So I looked down at my daughter to see if she was still there, and she was sound asleep. For the first time, I actually spoke to him. But he didn't speak back. Only gestures. I stood tall and asked him, what did he want from me? What came next scared me out of my sleep. Both he and the woman pointed to my child.
Oh my God.
I woke up. In the dream, I immediately ran to my mother's room to tell her what happened. But by the time I got back to my room, then shut the door with my baby inside, I couldn't get to her. And then I woke up.
Oh
my God.
Oh my God. That's terrifying.
This again, it keeps going. Fast forward to when my daughter was 2. I ended up getting off of work around 12 a.m. So I picked her up from my sister's home pretty late. When we pulled up to my house, she said, Mommy, I don't want to go inside. I asked her why, and she said, that man in the door won't stop looking at me. When I looked,
Oh
I
no.
didn't see anything, but I automatically knew what she was talking about. She said, Mom, he won't go away and I'm scared. Which, by the way, scared blank out of me because I then remembered the dream I had.
Oh,
Safe to
yeah.
say, and this is good because we're all thinking it, safe to say, I ended up moving out of my family house the next day. Haven't been home since, haven't seen him since, excuse me, but I fear my daughter does occasionally. And just like me, she has gotten used to him now. And it doesn't scare her anymore. She's 11 years old.
Oh,
But I wish
Oh,
he would just leave her alone for good.
that would be
So,
so sad to feel like you've transferred it on to your daughter almost. Like,
yeah. And
oh,
what can you do about it, right?
yeah,
right?
absolutely. So, imagine that, just seeing that and just have to deal with all that stuff. I mean, oh my gosh. So,
Yeah, I
go
don't
ahead.
know. I was wondering if it was like an omen, but it's like
Mm,
nothing really like happened, I guess, just like weird spooky things, but and I also
yeah.
wanted to know, is this like an intelligent being? I don't know. Or maybe it just doesn't have like the ability to communicate back the way humans do. But it's
Yeah.
Right.
interesting that it responded to what the person prompted in the dream.
Yeah. So all of this that I read, there's a number of Reddit posts that vary. Some say that the Hat Man spoke to them and said, like, death or you're going to die. Some were more like just standing and staring at them. There was one Reddit post that was, I don't have it in here because it's very short and I remember it, but one thing the person would say was, I would see him in my dreams, and then I would be out walking, and I'd see him peer out from behind a tree and stare at me.
Oh,
Oof,
dang.
that would be creepy.
Yeah, and one of the things, all these people, they don't say if they have sleep deprivation or psychological or they're bipolar or whatever. So you really don't know, right, what they're seeing, because this story, you hear this woman, she's just, she's working a second shift and she might be tired and stressed, but I don't know, right? There was nothing in here that I felt like, oh, I used to be a meth addict or I used to, be a alcoholic.
Right.
And,
Right.
no, none of them say that.
Yeah.
So,
It's interesting.
really interesting to me. So let's get to my favorite one. Aaron Rodgers, my boy.
Yes.
Give me a jet. Listen to Packers Blitz on our podcast network here. We're Packers and Paranormal. We have our little podcast network. Best of both worlds. I talk about why going to the Jets is a mistake. But anyway, let's get back on this topic. So Aaron Rodgers, as you know, he's a strange dude. That's why I love him.
He is.
He's out there, man.
He is.
He just does really weird shit.
He does.
Stuff. Excuse me. So if you know anything, if you're Wisconsinite, even if you're not, this was a huge story. So Aaron Rodgers likes to experiment with different mind-altering stuff. One of the things he's doing is called ayahuasca. Now, ayahuasca is a mind-altering drug that, by the way, again, note to self and note to everyone, you do not do ayahuasca without people around you. You have to get a specially trained person to give you this. Otherwise, bad things can happen. Okay. So that being said, he has taken it and he's had these life altering experiences. So this is one of the things he said. And this is great when I saw this. So Aaron Rodgers, he said he got off his trip in the 2020 off season and, he's going to try a little more adventure, have a little more adventurous journey. So this is his quote from the article from Sports Illustrated, which I thought was kind of funny. So what he said was, this Hatman, he will sometimes appear in the distance, usually veiled by dark. And then Roger says, he continued by saying he fears staying alone in the locker room as the lights usually flicker and go off
What?
one by one.
Oh my God.
And he said, it was behind me breathing hard.
Oh my God.
Okay. Remember, Aaron Rodgers is no small guy. He's like 6'2", like 215 or something. He's he's a football player, right? And then he said, I heard its feet hitting the ground in a constant rhythm. This is great. I wish I could have saw that. I'm sorry to laugh, but I wish I could have saw this. He ran to his car, like opened the door, just slammed it, and he just took off as fast as he could.
Like, forget it, I'm leaving.
You see that? You're walking past Lambeau Field, here comes Aaron Rodgers running for his life.
Screaming. Oh my God.
And then he explained, as he was narrating the ghost story to a 10-year-old, well, everything else aside, on the work front, Rodgers is excited to leave the offense of a successful offseason. He's like a kid.
Just so casual.
Yeah. And other thing he mentioned is sometimes he talks about recollection where he's this Hatman is holding the corpse of a dead rabbit and sometimes a blade.
What? What the
I love
heck
how
is he on?
Rogers just like says this weird stuff, and everyone's just like, that's
Like,
just
that's
Aaron.
normal for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was other things I found in an interview. I was just listening, and he kept on saying, "Now look, I know I was on ayahuasca, and this." But he goes, "I saw these things. I'm not gonna lie." Aaron Rodgers has also seen a UFO. I don't know if you guys know.
Okay. I've heard that before.
He's admitted to seeing UFOs. He's admitted to seeing this. He's our type of guy. And Aaron Rodgers, if you want to be on Dairyland Frights, please.
Please.
We'd love to have you.
What's interesting?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's interesting to me that he says that he was like afraid to be alone in the locker room because with like the lights off, because then he went in and on his like darkness retreat, and I'm just like imagining him now being like terrified the whole time.
Oh,
poor guy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Maybe he needed to like confront. He needed to confront the Hatman.
Yeah, he has talked about, he has seen shadow people. He's talked about all these things when he's been on a trip, and I just think it's funny because he's getting chased down by these 300-pound guys who can bench press a bus.
Right.
Literally tried to knock him out of the game and end his career, and he's like, "Man, that's
the Hatman though." Yeah, right.
That's shadow guy.
Oh
shoot. So
what the heck?
What do you guys think? Do you guys think this urban legend? What do you think about it?
It's interesting. I feel like it seems like this entity is kind of like a pop culture thing now, and like I believe that people are like seeing it, but I think like people already experience sleep paralysis, so the fact that maybe they know of the Hatman means that they're gonna like see the Hatman when they have sleep paralysis because it's like something they have heard of and are like familiar with. But like when it comes to people just seeing it like around when they're not like having sleep paralysis, that's a little interesting to me, I guess. That's where I'm not really sure what that would be. Yeah, it's a little bit more concerning. And maybe that is more of like a mental health concern, or maybe it is something real. I don't know. But to me, it kind of seems like it might be a mental health concern a little bit.
Correct. So Megan, what do you think?
Yeah, I could definitely see how your mind could play tricks on you, because I know I've had like really vivid dreams, and when I wake up, like I don't realize I'm in my bedroom, or like that wasn't real. So I think it just like takes your mind time to like really wrap around like, oh, that wasn't reality. So I could definitely see how your brain could kind of play into something that's not real, especially like Brooke was saying, if you have heard about it or you think you're going to see it. Different things like that. So I don't know, but I'm still confused how people are seeing it out and about when they're conscious.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
very
I get you.
interesting. But I could see
Yeah.
like how like in the dark, you know, your mind's playing tricks on you. You think you saw something, but yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I just want to add, and I'm not trying to put nightmares into you, I promise, or to our listeners. One thing they mentioned on Reddit, this guy was doing some research on the Hatman, and he said, "Wait a minute, if I'm doing research on the Hatman, and I'm kind of, will I have dreams?" And then all these people go, "Yep, you're gonna have a nightmare tonight, and you're gonna see a Hatman."
Oh, John, don't say that.
I'm sorry, listeners, and Megan and Brooke. I researched this thing. I've not yet seen the Hatman. I hope I don't. So let's all think pure thoughts and we won't see it. So
yeah.
Love it. I loved doing this. I hope I scared you both and scared our listeners out there.
Very creepy.
So just want to again say hi to your ghosts for us. And again, stay spooky and get enough sleep, people. So we're not seeing that Hatman, okay?
Yes, agreed. Sleep is important.
All right, ladies, love you. Thank you so much. Talk to you later.
Talk to you next week.
This is John from Dairyland Frights. And are you scared of your podcast hosting site? Well, not anymore, because with Podbean, you can get a free month of hosting for your podcast. And also, yes, there's more. You can get $100 of free advertising for your podcast, where you can advertise on Dairyland Frights or in many other podcasts on Podbean. So don't be scared and come over to Podbean today. And you can go to Dairyland Frights, podbean.com. That's Dairyland Frights, podbean.com. So don't be scared. Come over to Podbean. We love it. You'll love it too.